Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody, welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with
Oberon.
me, Banshee, and
Bly makes 3.
here's Bly. So you know what time it is? It's time for the Unhappy Hour, where, you know, we have issues. We all have issues in life. We're going to try to find a way to make it, well, maybe not all go away, but make it all better.
Turn that frown upside down.
That's right. So, welcome to the show. We'll be doing readings for the elemental signs of the zodiac, and we will be reading the cards in reverse. And actually, we will also be doing a world prediction at the end.
Yes.
So, we're starting off with our friends, the air signs, which is
Are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius.
This reading's for you. Now, this reading goes, we do it on the 4th quarter moon, so this reading is going to be good till the next 4th quarter moon. All right.
That's right. It's a whole month of unhappy to work your way through.
Well, you got time to work it out. There you go. Okay.
Card 1.
Card 1 is the Hermit. The Hermit's
What
reversed.
is it will be making us unhappy right now?
Oh boy. Well, you know what, air signs, what's making you unhappy is maybe having to come out of your little shelter, come out of your little cave, and deal with some issues that maybe you put off, maybe you were trying to avoid, maybe you were hoping they would just go away, but now you have to emerge and take care of them, and it's not making you very happy.
You know, it's always not nice to generalize, but sometimes the air signs get a reputation for sort of being a little more abstract and in their own little world, their own private Idaho. And
like that,
this
yes.
may be saying that, you know, the idea of having to come out of that when you don't really want to, or having to maybe interface, or maybe having to surrender a little bit of, you know, wisdom or knowledge in some regard, kind of bugs you. Maybe you feel people should sort of arrive at these ideas themselves that you yourself are holding on to per the Hermit.
All right.
Card 2. How are we dealing with this? How will we be dealing with this?
How are the air signs dealing with this? Well, it's the King of Wands. The King of Wands is reversed, of course. So, you're kind of angry. You're kind of upset. And maybe you just want to, you know, you're going to handle it. You're not dealing with it well. As a matter of fact, I think you might be dealing with this just a little bit recklessly. Maybe you're letting your anger get the best of you. Perhaps you are taking it out on others.
The King of Wands reverse could seem a bit petulant, a little bit overreactive, and beneath that, the idea is that maybe this rocks a sense of confidence that they had in that. So
That's
you may be
point.
feeling, you know, a little bit endangered or a little bit on the defensive. That may be how you're dealing with this, because you feel like somebody has chipped away at your will, at your sense of confidence.
I like that idea of being on the defensive in particular. That's a very good point. So, you know, maybe, like, especially with what I was saying too, because maybe, you know, if you've let something go, you were hoping it would just go away. Now you're stuck having to deal with it. And of course, you're taking kind of a defensive posture now over it.
So it's almost a natural. Are these feelings justified for the air signs?
Well, guess what?
Oh, no.
It's another wand.
Wow.
It's the Five of Wands reversed.
Oh, dear.
Wow.
You really want to lash back, perhaps. You really want to maybe be overly aggressive or overly uncooperative, perhaps.
Well, it is reversed. I almost think in a way, maybe you want to walk away from it. You know, again,
Okay.
it's like that idea of, my feelings are justified because I really don't want to deal with this situation.
My way or the highway.
My way or the highway. Maybe it's also, you know, with this wand, this negative wand energy here, there is some aggression, there is some anger. This may have brought up some bitter feelings between you and other people who may be involved in the situation.
Card 4. How will we turn that frown upside down?
Well...
Or will we?
Or will we? It's the King of Pentacles reversed. You know?
This could be saying you have to let go of some things that you've been maybe trying too hard to manage, too hard to control. Maybe this is saying you have to kind of let some things go.
Stop trying to control everybody and everything. And, you know, the fact that you even let this go, which is what I was saying, is that that's a sense of, that's a way to control people. Not finishing something off, not, you know, maybe there was some argument left open-ended and, you know, people want a resolution. Not coming up with a resolution is a way of controlling others, isn't it?
It's almost like that song by Rush.
So in a way, he is right. Let it go. Or, you know, I mean, let something go. You have to let something go. You have to let, maybe what you have to let go is to let your defenses down, huh? Let's take a look at this again for the air signs, shall we? So basically, we're back at that Hermit in the beginning. You want to go first?
Well, maybe it's making us unhappy right now because we feel like something is sort of telling us we have to make a choice, we have to make a stand, we have to do this or get off the pot, as they say, and we don't feel in our comfort zone.
Right, we have to engage in this. You know, we have to re-engage in this, and we've been avoiding it. You know, you've been not wanting to come out. Maybe you've been hiding, you've been avoiding people or a situation, you know, and now, you know, it's made you very unhappy that you have to be, you're either being confronted by this or you have to confront it. So,
Card 2. How are we dealing with it? How will we be dealing with it?
Well, yeah, not very good. I like what you said. So go ahead.
Right. You know, kings are sort of representing the idea of being in control. So when in reverse, we're not in control. And this king's reaction is to be a little over defensive, a little bit like trying to be braggadocio, not wanting others to see that this is chipped away at their will or their sense of confidence.
You're lacking confidence, and so therefore you're taking a defensive posture rather than a constructive, you know, let's work together and try to resolve this posture. You're making excuses or you're placing blame. You're on the defensive.
So then, are our feelings justified? And it's the Five of Wands.
Well, they are justified in that you've been actively trying to avoid this confrontation for some reason or this resolution. You've been leaving things hanging. So, you know that, well, maybe your feelings, they aren't justified so much as that's just the way it is. That's the way you've made it. And so now you have to deal with it, justified or not.
You made your bed, but it is sort of like the my way or the highway, or sort of feeling like overreactive in some regard.
I think with this one, how you can turn that frown upside down is stop trying to control this situation and control people. Share the burden here of resolving this. Everybody needs to have their say. Everybody needs to get this out in the open. Everybody needs to come up with a solution that they can all agree to. All right.
All right, so that's it for the air signs.
Wow.
Now move on to fire.
Hey, fire signs. What's going on with us?
And fire signs are Aries,
Leo, and
Sagittarius.
Yes, my friends, the fire signs. There can be nothing wrong in our world, right? It's all going to be happy joy, right? No. Not always. All right, Mr. O.
All right,
So what is making the fire signs unhappier will be? Oh, that would do it.
Oh dear, it's the reversed Eight of Wands.
The Eight of Wands reversed. You want to go first?
So we're feeling like we've been scattering our energy and we're spent and we haven't really made our target. We haven't struck a point. We haven't reached our destination in some regards. We're flailing a little bit maybe, and this is sort of bothering us.
Well, fire signs, I think that, you know, basically he's right. You've spent a lot of time, spent a lot of energy, maybe resources on something, and you seem to have missed the mark completely. It's just going nowhere, and you feel, what a waste. You're unhappy.
Exactly. So then how will you be dealing with this? And it's the reverse Six of Swords.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, well, maybe you'll feel like you can't really move beyond this point unless you take care of that. Maybe something will really kind of stick you, or you'll just sort of want to stick yourself in place and say, until I make my mark, until I do this, I'm staying here maybe, or I'm going back somehow.
Well, how are you dealing with this sense of frustration and, you know, trying to get things back on track or deciding whether to move on or not? You're not. You're just not doing anything right now or during this time period. Maybe you need to.
Card 3. Well, then are these feelings justified for the fire signs? And it's the reversed Lovers, and I think that's pretty clear. What it is saying is that these are wrong choices that you may be making in regards to the situation. If you're pulling back, you may be cutting off your nose to spite your face, as they say.
If your feelings to do nothing is what this is talking about, I'd say yes or no. Your feelings are not justified here. You know, you've made some bad choices, you've made some bad decisions, and now, you know, this is what happens. And so, you know, you can wallow in it, you can just sit here, or you can do something about it.
And that something is, well, will it turn your frown upside down? It's the reversed Knight of Swords. So maybe this is saying tone down on some of the brashness, maybe if it exhibits as rudeness or as forcefulness, overly aggressive. This may be something you cannot, you know, brat your way through. I was going to say power your way through, but it seems like it's more about being a little bit bratty in a way.
I don't know. I think this basically says tone down the recklessness. You know, one thing is maybe you spent your energy and resources because you were moving too fast. You were moving too fast. You weren't thinking. You were overextending yourself. And so with this Knight at the end, he's saying slow down. You know, slow down, be less reckless, be less ambitious, and really try to work through, you know, the process, going through a process. I sometimes look at the Knight of Swords as somebody who wants to take shortcuts, okay? They want to just get to that finish. Let's just get through. Yeah. Let's cut through all this and we're done. Well, it didn't serve you very well here.
So let's try to tie this up again then.
Go ahead.
All right, so card 1, what is or will be making you unhappy? And it's clearly the idea that you feel like you haven't made the points you've wanted to make. You've wasted your time or energy. You're just not getting there.
You've missed the mark. You've missed the mark on projects or goals you wanted to accomplish. Maybe you scattered that energy. You spread yourself too thin. And the consequences are you're unhappy.
In a way of dealing with this, it's really almost like you're just sort of not dealing with it. You're refusing to really, you know, do much of anything.
Either you're refusing to accept it or you're accepting it, but now you're like, oh, well, what am I going to do? I'm just going to sit here. It's like it's very counterproductive.
Your feelings are most likely not justified because what this mostly alludes to is the Lover's reverse says you probably have made some bad choices and you really need to own up to them.
You've made some bad choices with how to use your energy, your resources, your skills, and you may have just bitten off more than you could chew for one, or maybe you were just moving too fast and you burnt out and you couldn't get to where you needed to be.
Well, how will it be possible to turn that frown upside down?
Slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down, reassess, think clearly rather than trying to speed through and thinking there's going to be an easy, fast solution to this. Not anymore. So you need to take it slow. You need to follow process. You need to not take shortcuts.
And if there's any tendency towards feeling like maybe being a little bit more aggressive, forget it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
All right.
All right, so that was it for our fire signs. We will now move on to the water signs.
Hey, water signs. Cancer, Scorpio, and
Pisces.
Pisces. Right. I shuffled first, yes. Go ahead. And if you like these readings, do hit the like button. We appreciate it.
Yes, please. We've noticed that sometimes the unhappy hour gets quite a good viewing, so we think it's found a resonant chord. We're here to help you, to give you something to think about, maybe, some advice that you could see yourself doing. But in general, of course, our readings are for entertainment only, and we just hope that you feel entertained and hit that like button.
And that you get some insights as well as entertainment.
All right. So, for the water signs, what is or will be making you unhappy?
Well, it's the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands reversed. I guess maybe some plans that you had hoped would pan out, whether it's maybe to take a trip, maybe it was a vacation, maybe it was to buy a house, whatever the plans are, maybe to get a job, they seem to have fallen through. And you need either to revert to a backup plan or go back to the drawing board and start over again. And boy, isn't that frustrating, water signs?
It's a deal of frustration because you probably really thought you were ready to move on to something different. And now you find you have to, figure out what you need to do with that. All right, card 2. How will you be dealing with it? Or how are you?
Page of Swords, reversed. That's not a happy card.
No.
Well, I think here too, it's interesting because we talk about plans and planning and how it all falls through. And I mentioned something about vacations or, buying, selling property, whatever the case may be, the plans falling through. It seems like communications have gone awry. That's how you're dealing with it. You're upset now. So, for example, if maybe, plane tickets, your reservations for plane travel got changed or canceled or whatever, where your flight rescheduled, you're angrily talking to people about this.
Right. The classical definition of this card reverse does sound like there's tactful behavior, there's maybe...
You mean tactless?
Tactless behavior, yes, thank you, sorry.
It's okay.
There's sort of a sense of not being very graceful, not being kind, not being diplomatic if you have to be in a position of negotiating certain things.
Right.
You need to be your better self.
You need to be your better self. And it's also your brain is not, how you're dealing with it too is your brain is kind of cloudy right now. You're confused. You're kind of confused as to what your next step should be. So the last thing you should do is probably lash out at the people who might be able to help you rearrange or rework your plan.
All right, card 3.
Well, it's another wand card.
Why are our feelings justified, or are they in fact?
It's the King of Wands reversed. Didn't we have him before?
Yeah, we did.
I believe we did. So again, and he might have been in this position. I'm not sure.
No, he wasn't.
Okay. Are your feelings justified? Well, I'm not sure. I don't know. Or why are your feelings justified? Is that the question? I think here it's saying no. Because I feel here you've kind of maybe made some missteps here. I think you might be looking for somebody else to place blame on, but I have a feeling that it was you. You just didn't follow through maybe on certain steps or things you needed to do.
You were overconfident, and maybe you
I like that.
Estimated the nature of your personality or charisma to affect what you wanted. Maybe you thought this was some situation you could charm somebody.
There you go.
And it didn't quite work out that way.
And so now you're bitter, angry, and yelling at people.
Yeah.
But no, that makes sense. You know, that you were trying to schmooze your way through something, and no, and it didn't work.
So how will you turn your frown back upside down?
Oh, boy. It's the Eight of Cups reversed.
I think you have to go back and eat some humble pie.
You have to go back. I think that's pretty clear. I think you have to start over again. You have to, you know, start planning, make a new plan perhaps. This is an idea of, no, you're not going forward now. You're going back to the drawing board and starting over again.
Yeah,
and that's really the only way you're going to get any satisfaction out of this.
Yeah, so let's look at this again then.
Wow. Go ahead. Well, okay, the Two of Wands reversed indicates that right now it's making you unhappy, is a failure for your plans to materialize as you would hope they would. Whatever it is, whether you're planning a trip, whether you're doing a major sale or investments, whether you were trying to get a job, something is failing here, and, you know, it's making you very upset.
There's a real sense like you thought it was a done deal, the I's were dotted, etc., and it wasn't, and this is basically the big unhappy.
And the big unhappy is making you angry, and, you know, you might not be communicating that effectively with others right now. You're obviously confused, you can't think clearly, so the last thing you really want to do is lash out at others right now. But you might need their support.
But that's what you're doing. You are sort of being a little bit pushy, you know.
You're not going to be able to push your way through this.
No, as we will see. Why are your feelings justified if they are?
Well, I don't.
You were overconfident.
I don't know that they are. I feel here that you are overconfident in this. You thought it was a done deal. You thought there was just nothing else you had to do. But apparently, you know, it just, for whatever reasons, it's not manifesting and materializing the way you had hoped.
You really expected your personality or your nature or your traits to win you over, and it didn't really work out.
And ultimately, it's back to the drawing board. With that Eight of Cups reversed there, you're not moving forward. The best thing you can do right now is go back to the drawing board and start all over again.
This is the situation you have to fix.
Yeah. Well, or move on and start all over again. Create a new plan.
All right.
Good luck with that.
So that was the water signs.
And now we are on Earth. Taurus, Virgo, and
Capricorn.
Capricorn.
Capricorn. Capricorn. Capricorn. California.
It's our moon sign.
Yes.
Okay. I am yawning.
All right, card one. What is or will be making us unhappy?
Earth signs.
Earth signs.
Wow. It's a lot of wand energy
Yeah,
in
which
these
is fiery
readings.
energy and contestments of will, perhaps. And it's the Knight of Wands reversed.
Knight of Wands reversed. Well, what's making you unhappy is, how should I say this? You know, maybe some of those things you had hoped you could move fast on have not worked in your favor. Speed, they say slow and steady wins the race. There's a reason for that, because you have time to think things through and strategize along the way. It just seems like maybe some reckless moves on your part have now come back to haunt you, Earth signs.
You know, no matter how we might look at the Knight as a person or an energy, Knights, symbolically at least, are in service to a higher power. And so maybe this suggests too that somebody has tried to dampen or curtail some of your energy or movement in a way, and that's bumming you out. Maybe somebody's wanted to restrict your access to something or someone, and this is really against your plans.
Yeah, this could be a very pushy individual, too. Let's see what the next card is, though.
How are we, or will we, be dealing with the situation?
And wonder if it is about movement.
And it's the Chariot reverse.
Here we have the Chariot reverse, too. I spoke about movement in the first card. It's just that your moves are too reckless and too fast. And so now how are you dealing with it? Well, instead of trying to slow down and reasonably find your way through, I think you've full stopped here. I think you've just decided, okay, it's just not going to work, I guess, so I'm just going to let it be. You're stuck. Or it could just be that you're stuck and you really aren't sure how to deal with this right now.
Well, another possibility is that there is maybe a sense of being reckless and maybe just moving in a direction that is not necessarily the right one, but just takes you somewhere else because you just want to sort of power through the situation. So it's about maybe a lack of direction.
Well, and I know you've brought this up before with the Chariot, so isn't this too also about maybe reckless moves, and now how are you dealing with it? You're unable to control what's happening now.
Yeah,
these moves really got the better of you, and now they've set something in motion that may be out of your control.
Exactly.
All
my goodness. So, why are your feelings justified if they are, in fact? And it is the reversed Six of Swords.
That came up before.
Yes, we've been here before.
There's a lot of, now we've got a lot of stuckedness here. Are your feelings justified? Yeah, you feel like maybe you have nowhere to go. You have no way to move forward on this now. Or that, your next moves really aren't up to you.
The idea behind the previous card seemed to suggest that there was a bit of pride and commitment or belief in what you're doing. And so to be told that maybe you have to sort of stand back, is a little bit challenging to you and makes you feel, like you've been put in your place and you don't feel that should be.
So how do you turn that frown upside down?
And it's the Emperor reversed, and that's never easy exactly to apply to a situation.
Well, yeah, and it's funny because we also had in this position before the King of Pentacles, who I like to equate with the Emperor energy a lot of times.
Is this a situation where maybe there is really no discernible power for you, and that it is best maybe if you do seek your own sense of where your opportunities or power can lie?
Well, that's it. I think here, if we look back at the Chariot, how I said it seems like things are now spiraling out of your control. It may be in the hands of others now, and that's just how it says here. Maybe you have to let others just take it from here, for better or worse. I think here, you have to relinquish your control on it and allow others to just do whatever they're going to do. I sense here consequences. I just sense some consequences coming down on you, unfortunately. But it may ultimately, finally, bring peace in that, okay, it's done, it's over.
So let's start over again with this one.
Wow. just don't know, man. These are really tough. So basically, I think some reckless acts, some on your part, I feel personally, has set something in motion now that, you know, we'll talk about in a minute. But I think that that's what's making you unhappy. These reckless acts or decisions that you made have put you in a rather difficult position.
There may be a feeling, too, that somebody's trying to hold you back from being more reckless, and that doesn't feel good to you.
Well, and why are, what is this one again? I'm sorry.
How will you be dealing?
How are you dealing with it, or will be dealing with it? Well, I think here you're starting to realize that, or you will be realizing that this is now out of your hands. This is kind of out of control. Maybe you might be able to regain control, but I have a feeling what this is saying is there are other people involved in this, and they're going to start, you know, they're going to take the reins here.
Inside, this also may be affecting your morale, maybe making you feel like, you know, you don't know where the stakes are for you. You know, is it important? Card 3, are your feelings justified?
Well, you're feeling like you have nowhere to go. You really have nowhere to go with this situation. You know, and it's interesting too because this doesn't show it exactly, I don't think, but there's usually another person in the boat who is taking you somewhere to a distant shore. So in other words, with them not doing anything, you feel stuck, or maybe you feel at their mercy right now.
Well, when it's reversed too, you may be feeling like you are not able to leave a troubling situation. So you're feeling, you know, you're justified here because this is something you can't easily escape from.
No. And ultimately, you're going to have to relinquish some power and control in this situation. I think, you know, the others might be able to help you out more than you realize. This may not be a bad thing. I mean, it could be that you might get some retribution here for if you've done something really bad or signs, or others might be able to do what you cannot here and get the situation back under control again. But let it go. Let others do the heavy lifting.
So that's it for the earth sides. It is kind of interesting. I think you're going to
all these readings were kind of interesting.
Yeah, everyone is, I think
I shuffled first
battling
this time.
with will.
Thank you. And this is now what's making the world unhappy.
It's our attempt at looking at things from a more global or universal kind of perspective and seeing from some sort of consensus view what are those problems or situations, how we're dealing with it, what we can do to maybe feel better about it.
I don't try to explain it. I just say whatever's making the world unhappy. Let's see. Let's see what's out there. I'm going to shuffle one more and hand it to you to shuffle. All right. Here you go. Come back here, Bly. I need you. It's going to be a tough reading.
Yes, I have that feeling.
There's so much going on in the world right now. Let's face it. All right.
So what will be making the world unhappy, or what is making the world unhappy?
Judgment reversed. Bad karma.
People aren't seeking more spiritual solutions to their problems. They maybe are seeking very bad solutions, very non-spiritual solutions.
I feel like there's a hammer coming down in a way. I don't know why. It's not justice, but it is judgment. And I get the feeling here that there is something that may come down because of somebody's bad behavior. You know, if we look at the world right now, we have possibly Israel's prime minister facing, world court charges of genocide and war crimes. And so this could be a number of things. This could be, hey, and by the way, the final The final arguments are being made in Trump's criminal trial right now. So I have a feeling, in this next month period, something is going to play out here in a legal sense.
Yes, perhaps the scales of Ma'at will be troubled to balance.
Yes. And it's funny because I look at that as kind of a justice image, not judgment, but there it is.
Yes.
On that card. And I feel like, yeah.
Okay, so how will the world be dealing with this? How is the world dealing with this?
Oh boy.
6 of Wands, nobody likes me, I want to go eat some worms. Well, this isn't the whole world, but this may be parts of the world who are coming under a certain level of scrutiny. People may be saying, why are you picking on me? We're right. We should be getting more recognition rather than less.
Well, I feel in this situation, whatever's happening here, and it sure could sound like Israel right now, and Trump has his supporters, it's true, and so does Israel for that matter. But I think that's the point here is, how will you be dealing with this situation? You'll be trying to see who your supporters are. You'll be trying, the world is trying, whoever's involved in this, they're going to be seeking out their supporters, and it looks to me like a lot of them are like backing off.
Ooh.
Right? Because
Very
isn't that what it's about? It's kind of like, where did my
Yeah.
support go? So it is interesting.
So then card 3, why or are our feelings justified?
It's a 3-peat. Is it a 3-peat?
Oh, no.
No, maybe it's a 2-peat.
It's a 2-peat.
It's the King of Pentacles reversed. You're feeling... Oh.
Are the feelings justified? Well, from the world's point of view, there may be various players. It's not a gestalt necessarily, but a feeling that people are not managing things well. Maybe that applies on both sides. The people who feel like they're trying to make the greatest gains in whatever their missions are, good or bad, they're feeling like, it's not being managed well.
Right. I look at the King of Pentacles as somebody who is not managing money or power appropriately. They may be trying to use their power to influence others. Now, in this situation, are your feelings justified? Well, it depends on what your motives are, I think, here. The person involved in all of this. And as far as the world goes, if the world is looking at the situation and backing, and supporters are backing away, maybe people are factioning off a little bit here, I would say, there are people who are going to feel they're justified, and there are people who are going to try to manipulate others into thinking their feelings are justified.
Wow.
So,
well then, card 4. How do we turn that frown upside down?
run, retreat. It's the 9 of Wands reversed. I think I think what happens here is somebody needs to give up on whatever caused this whole thing to begin with. And as if this is the world needs to think about how to turn a defeat into a victory here.
It could be, but it could also be saying that, since this is really a retreating thing, maybe this is saying those who are doing very questionable operations right now, Russia, Israel, whoever else, should pull back from them, should not be doing them at this time. Right.
There may be some retreat. Maybe there'll be some shifts and changes in approach. For example, maybe, especially not only is Israel up for all these charges, or the Prime Minister, they just had a major mistake, an unfortunate incident in Rafah where they killed innocents again, a large amount, and injured hundreds of people. And so, maybe they're going to have to back off and take a different approach to their plans for Rafah, for example. Maybe they're going to have to admit failure to some extent here, because how many times are you going to say, oh, that was an unfortunate episode, and get away with that?
Exactly.
So, I mean, I see it in that case, but we can apply this to a lot of other things going on.
Yeah.
Maybe some people have to admit and accept defeat here, too, as far as the Trump case goes.
Mhm.
Whether he wins or loses, there's going to be one side that's going to feel it's unfair one way or the other. Right?
Just politics in general, you know,
Yeah.
there's so much combativeness. Maybe somebody has to realize they do not have the winning moves.
Right, and that could be with Russia and Ukraine, too. You are absolutely
It's
right.
everywhere. So
Okay.
let's go through this again.
Well,
Okay, so what is our making us unhappy right now? And judgment is not like justice reversed. Judgment is more like maybe questioning our values, questioning our ethics, questioning our spiritual feelings about this. And so this may be the idea that, you know, there are things that make the world question who's really doing good work here.
right,
or not.
questioning our ethics. And, like, if we're standing for people who are, you know, harming others, are we on the right side of history? You know, I think we have a lot to question all the way around in many of the world events going on here. What are our ethics? What do we stand for? Is it right? Is it just? Will there be karma to pay for, you know, the mistakes we are making?
So how are we dealing or will be dealing with this?
I think support is divided here, and I think that maybe there's an empty victory for those who may have been behaving irresponsibly, you know, with their power and authority.
This could also be saying, too, that not because we want to, but we are actually driving away friends, allies, supporters.
So, are feelings justified? Are the feelings justified? Well, it depends. I really think here, you know, the world's feelings may be justified in, you know, questioning what is going on and wondering about the proper use of power and financial, you know, power, financial or physical power in these situations.
Our feelings may be, for feelings that are possibly not justified, because another view of this is saying, really, we mismanaged things. We did not do the right things.
Or we've allowed power brokers to have too
for
much
wrong.
power and authority, and they didn't use it wisely.
So finally,
Well, you know,
can we? How will we?
I think the only way this can turn around is by backing off from something, backing off or accepting defeat, you know, accepting it and dealing with the consequences, admitting you made mistakes that cost you, you know, it's
And that would be saying we don't need to be this toxic. And that's a hard lesson for not only countries, but also peoples in countries.
And I think here this is a real tough lesson, and I'm not sure there is an easy way out of this one. So I think this is going to play out, though, in the next month.
And as things move on, this is the kind of thing that maybe we may want to do additional readings of our own for, you know, what's going on in the world because of troubling situations. We do this from time to time.
That's right. So until the next fourth quarter moon, try to stay happy, try to get happy, try to turn those frowns upside down, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.